Good evening, everyone. In the previous session of consumer behavior, I explained about the theory of personality, Freudian theory of personality, which was created by Sigmund Freud. So he included three important aspects in his theory. That was id, ego, and superego. So he created the entire theory of personality based on these three aspects. Now, there are many authors who do not agree with the concept or the unconsciousness aspect of the theory, which was created by Freud. So there are some authors, there are some philosophers who do not agree with him and the way he created the theory. So they also created some of the theories of personality based on their perception, based on what they think is the basic factor for creation of a personality. Okay, so in this session, I am going to explain the three Neo-Freudian theories. Now, these three theories are based on those point of view which are extremely or very much different from the Freud or the Freudian theory. Okay, so let's begin the session. So Neo-Freudian theory of personality is actually the opposite, or we can say a different point of view through which the theory of personality are created. So many theories are created, and in today's session I am going to explain three important Neo-Freudian theory. Okay, so there are several authors who do not agree with Freudian theory of personality because they think that personality is created, and there are many other factors which also influence the creation and changes in the personality. So according to them, they believe that social relationship and fundamental to the formation of are very much fundamental to formation and development of personality. So according to these authors, they emphasized more on social relationship, what kind of relationship a person has with parents, with family members, friends, and friends in different stages of life, the society in which we live, the neighborhood, and each and every social relationship has some of the impact on the personality of a person. So they believe that social relationship are also a very important part of personality, which was not emphasized in the Freud or the Freudian theory of personality. So they have many disagreement with Freud, and one of the major disagreement was that according to Freud, all personality traits were the result of internal conflict between id, ego, and superego. So the Freud theory was entirely based upon id, ego, and superego. And this was the opinion of Freud, and many of the authors did not agree with this aspect. Okay, so many authors believe that these may be very important for personality, for the creation of personality, creating the foundation of personality. But basing the entire theory of personality on these three elements are not that important or not very precise, because there are many other factors, and giving complete, or we can say complete emphasis on only on these three elements, because of this aspect many authors do not agree with the Freudian theory of personality. They believe that there are other aspects also which are needed to be considered. So according to Sigmund Freud, he believed that our personality is very instinctual in nature, because it is our basic instinct and we follow it, and that what leads to creation of a personality. And many of the authors do not believe that instinct are the reason behind creation of a particular type of personality. There are many reasons, and each and every factor must be considered while creating the theory of personality. So that's why Freud was very much criticized for focusing only on these three elements, that is the internal conflict between id, ego, and superego. And in Neo-Freudian theory, different authors have emphasized on other factors which influence the personality. Okay, so there were basically three major disagreements, and the first was his belief that early childhood experiences were largely responsible for shaping personality. So according to Sigmund Freud, the personality uh, which we have the way it is shaped, it is largely influenced by our childhood experiences, which may not be true in everyone's cases, because childhood experience, some of the people don't even remember different parts of their childhood. So it may be one of the contributing factor to the personality, but it is not the only factor which is largely responsible for shaping the personality. So this point of Sigmund Freud lead to disagreement between various other authors and Freud. Okay. The second point of disagreement was that Freud's failure to incorporate social and cultural influence on personality formation. So Sigmund Freud completely ignored the external factors which plays a major influence on a personality, that is cultural and social influences. Because the way we behave when we were child with our group of friends, and when our group of friends change, our personality, our perception also changes. So that must be also included in the theory of personality, which was not a part in Freud's theory. Freud also included how we have to understand the different rules and regulations of the society, the conflict between ego and superego, that superego tells us what is right and what is wrong. Ego wants us to fulfill our needs based on the rules and regulations and boundaries of the society. But he represented as if that conflict between these three leads to a creation of personality, and which aspect is dominant, that leads to the one type of personality in a person. For example, if id of a person is very dominating, the person will have that kind of personality completely based on the basic instinct. But if ego and superego are very dominating, the person will have a different personality. But there is also a great contribution of the social and cultural factor, the people with whom we socialize, what kind of to what kind of culture we belong. So that aspect was completely ignored in Freudian theory, and that's why many neo-Freudian, or we can say many other authors, disagree with this type of theory. Okay, and the third objection was to his reliance on dreams and emphasis personal needs and qualification as influencing personality. So his point of view was that that when we are hungry, we need to dream about food or dream about something which gives us happiness. So that can be also part of a personality, but that is not the only part which affects the personality. So they were not happy, they were not satisfied with too much reliance on dream, and which leads to creation of one type of personality. So this factor was criticized by many other authors and philosophers, and his emphasis on personal needs and qualification as influencing personality. See, our personality our personal needs influence our personality to some extent, but there are other factors also, there are other types of needs also which increases depending upon our surrounding, our culture and our social relationship. So these are not the only factors which influence personality. For example, some people prefer to prove themselves superior to others, so that creates a different type of motivation. See, motivation can be created out of anything. We do not, personal needs are one of the reason to get motivated to work, to earn money and then to fulfill our needs. That is one of the needs that motivates us, which ultimately helps us in shaping our personality. But there are other elements in our life which are equally important, and they also motivate us and they also helps us in shaping our personality. So completely focusing on few of the elements, that was the basic reason for disagreement. They agree with Freudian theory to some extent, but according to Freud, that these are the only factors which influence the personality, and this aspect was highly criticized by many authors, that there are many other factors which are left out in the Freudian theory. Okay, so major new Freudian theory were proposed by Alfred Adler, Carl Jung and Karen Horney. So these are the three authors which created a theory completely different and little bit similar to Freudian theory of personality. So first of all, I am going to explain each and every Neo-Freudian theory, so that you can clearly understand what is the difference between Freudian and Neo-Freudian theories. Okay. So the first Neo-Freudian theory was by Alfred Adler. So the first theory which I am going to explain is by Alfred Adler. So Alfred Adler created a individual psychology, and he based this psychology on three important elements. See, he disagreed with Freudian theory of personality because he did not believe that our unconscious or superego, ID, and ego are the only aspect which influence the personality. There are various other dimensions of personality also, which he explained in his theory. The first point is his theory assumes that we are motivated only by our social urges. See, as human beings, we cannot live in isolation. We need other people to socialize, to share our emotions, and there are many other reasons because of which we live in a society. It gives a sense of belongingness. It gives a sense of security. It makes us feel that we are part of something and together we are stronger than others. So when we are isolated, when we are extremely, or when we are alone, we feel insecure, we get scared, and there are different types of insecurity that arises within us. So our social urges are like creating good healthy relationship with our surrounding people. So these are our social urges, and we are completely motivated by them. That's why we always try to play by the rules of the society. We do not try to do something which is not morally correct, or which is not right in front of the society. So these are the things which motivate us to do something in our life, but within the framework of our society. So social urges basically motivates us to become successful, or to do something in our life. Okay. The second point which he explained was, he proposed the creative self, through which we interpret and find meaning in our experiences. So here he completely explained that we are, as human beings, we are very creative, and our creative self helps us in interpreting various situations and various experiences that we face in our life. For example, in a similar situation, there are around 5 people. We cannot say that each and every person will understand the situation in the same meaning. Different person has different perception, different creativity level. So according to their creativity self, they will interpret the situation and try to find out the meaning from the situation. For example, if a student has failed in an exam, the person will consider as if the person is not that intelligent, my friends are superior, I am inferior. So there are many other things like that. But some people will take it seriously. They will understand what are the they will try to sorry they try to understand what are the various reasons behind their failure, so that in future they do not repeat those same mistakes. They learn from their failure and then become successful. So it entirely depends upon our creative self, how we interpret different situation, whether we take it positively or negatively, whether we accept it or reject it. So they give us a meaning to the experience that we face. So this is another assumption in the individual psychology theory created by Alfred Adler. The third point says that he said people suffer from inherent feeling of inferiority. So as human beings, why do we feel inferior? For example, if when we were young, when we were extremely young, so during that time, we always needed support of someone, whether it is our family members, relatives, or friends, because we feel that as we are young, we are not safe, we are helpless, we are not strong enough to face different situations, and these are the feeling of fear which increases the inferiority level in our mind. To some extent, these feelings are justified because when, like I said, when we were alone, we get scared, we fear many things, that this may happen, this may not go right. So when we were young, we also used to feel that kind of things. But when these things increases, these insecurities and other things. So when we were scared or when we were afraid or something, the first thing that we do, we try to overcome our fear and insecurity. And in that process, we try to prove ourselves superior because we feel that we are inferior to others. Maybe we are too young, maybe we are too weak. So we try to make ourselves successful so that we can prove that we are better than others, we are not inferior. So in that kind of situation, when this feeling increases, the inferiority complex increases, people try more and more to prove themselves superior than others. They start comparing themselves to others. They want to become successful. They want to show it to others that they are not just inferior. They are not inferior actually, but they are trying to prove they are superior than others. See, there are two different elements. If a person is feeling inferior, the person would like to overcome that fear and try to become successful. But when this inferiority complex increases, instead of overcoming the inferiority complex, the person will definitely try to become superior than others. That is not a normal behavior. That leads to different types of personality where people always try to prove themselves as if they are better than others, they are superior to others. And this type of personality is also used by many products in advertising their products. For example, car, an expensive car actually represents the superiority of a person in terms of status and money and wealth. Cosmetics. Cosmetics will make you feel that you're looking better than your natural self, because natural self we consider is not that good looking, and in order to avoid that, we have to put on lot of makeup to look beautiful, or we have to match the standard of beauty that is in our society. So these are the things, these are the products, they advertise their products focusing on making people feel superior than other, better than other. So this type of concept, this type of personality is influenced by different types of advertisement, just by making them feel superior, whether it is in terms of money, wealth, status, or looks. So this theory is also very much used by different companies in order to promote or advertise their products. Okay. So the next Neo-Freudian theory was given by Carl Jung. So according to Carl Jung, he also disagreed with Freud's excessive emphasis on unconscious aspect of personality. Freud believed that our personality is the result of our instinct, our unconscious mind. And to some extent, Carl Jung agreed to this, but he did not agree that unconscious mind or unconscious aspect is the only factor in creation of personality. He developed analytical psychology, and in that he mentioned that fear, behavior, and thoughts of children and adults are remarkably similar across the culture. Because, for example, a child in India may be afraid from dark, or but it does not mean that a child from any other continent or any other country is not afraid from dark. So how is it possible a person living in India is afraid of dark, and another person is living in different part of the world is also afraid of dark? So according to him, some of the things of our personality is in our means is passed on to people from generation to generation. He believed in collective unconscious. See, what we feel is inherited by us from our ancestors. That was the main point of Carl Jung. Our unconscious aspect is not only our part. It is the collective unconscious of our future generations, of our past generations and our ancestors. So our culture, our society also plays a very important part in unconscious or collective unconscious. Okay, like the example I gave, fear of dark. If a person residing in India is afraid of dark and another child in another part is also afraid of dark, this is something which is similar to every culture. uh, dark means dark or absence of light is not considered to be positive. So these are the different elements which are similar across many cultures and that we carry on with us, and that becomes part of our personality. So our personality is the collective unconscious of our ancestors. That is the main point of Carl Jung. Okay. So this point is also exploited by many manufacturers also. For example, a mother's attachment to her children. Now this relationship and this attachment and emotion, it exists in every culture, it exists in every generation. So this is exploited by many manufacturers who manufacture health goods, healthy products, or instant noodles, uh, any kind of baby food or something which is good for the safe, which is safe for the kids. You must have seen advertisement of like sanitizer, hand wash, soap. In that, mother would be asking her child to wash their hand, use sanitizer, so that the child will not get any kind of bacteria infection. So that kind of attachment you will find, or that kind of use of mother and child attachment in every type of advertisement all across the world. So we cannot say that our personality is limited to unconscious aspect only. It is similar to all around the world, or we can say every type of culture has some similarity, and that we carry on with us. Okay, so this is the theory given by Carl Jung and his interpretation of personality, which is created because he also disagreed with the Freudian theory of personality. Okay. So the next theory was explained by Karen Honey. So she also disagreed with Freudian because as Freudian completely ignored the social and cultural factors in the development of personality, and she basically put on more emphasis on social and cultural factors in the development of personality, in the creation of personality. So according to her, our insecurities and our anxiety, they motivate us to uh, either become successful or purchase a product, or it helps to create a personality depending upon those insecurities and anxiety. So she believed that unconscious is not the only aspect which leads to creation of one type of personality. Our insecurities that we have faced, that throughout our life, that also becomes an integral part of the personality. The anxiety that we have, the curiosity that we have, that we need to know something, that also plays a very important part in personality. And these elements are highly influenced by social and cultural factors, because if we live in an unsecure environment where there is no kind of security, no mutual trust between each other, so definitely we will also have some kind of level of insecurity in our minds. So our surroundings play a very important role in the development of personality. So according to this factor, she described three types of personality: complaint, aggressive, and detached. So according to complaint people, they always try to move towards the people. They want to be noticed by the people. They are attached with people. They want to be loved by people. So people with complaint kind of personality, they always want to socialize with people. They always want to have healthy relationship with other people around us. And people having this type of personality, they are more into the products which are used by others, whether it is cosmetics or any other products, car or something, durable goods, because they want to associate with others by even means anything that they can with sorry anything they can associate with, and they want to have use similar kinds of products by used by the people, relatives, friends or something, so that they can socialize with them, they can have something in common. So they are very much into creating healthy relationship with other people. So there is another type of personality which is aggressive, and they do not they don't even move away from others, but they have different kinds of personality. They want to be noticed because they want to stand alone, they want to compete and win. One is they either they are very competitive in nature, they like winning, they want to become successful, and they want to stand out from a group of people. And these kind of people are very brand loyal, they are very specific, they use particular kinds of brand, and they are motivated with something which makes them feel special or better than others. The next one is detached. So detached kind of people are always trying to move away from the people. They are not brand loyal, they can use any products, they do not even care what other people think about them. So according to the cultural and social factor used by Karen, she described these three types of personality. Okay, so these are the three Neo-Freudian theory of personality. These are the theories which are different or do not agree with the Freudian theory of personality. Okay, in the next session, I am going to explain about the self-concept theory. What are the different aspects of self-concept theory? There are different types of self, extended self, and other things which I am going to explain in my next session. Okay. So in the next session, I am going to explain self-concept theory, and after that, our course will be completed. The second unit will be completed, and then after the next session, I am going to discuss with you all a case study, and then the second unit will be completed. Okay, so that's it for today. We will meet in the next session. Thank you.